Now that it's wintertime and not everybody has set aside a budget for a temperature control system or even has the time to implement a temperature control system, we thought we would share some tips, things that we see other companies doing, typically in conjunction with their temperature control system, but this will help decrease the variation that you might see without one. The first thing that you really need to do is control your substrate temperature. In the hierarchy of temperature control, substrate's number one. That will affect the finish more than the material temperature. Number two is make sure your material lines are insulated. Most people do a good job in a recirculated system of at least insulating the incoming lines, but the lines that circulate back to the tanks are often left uninsulated. In a cold environment, that material can get cold enough to either tax the heating if you have a heat-only system, or even cause your heater to get too hot and potentially damage the material. The third thing you want to do is make sure that that purge cycle that you have clears the static paint from the line. If you have a line that's sitting idle for a period of time, you could have settling and stratifying that takes place in the paint. Make sure you purge that before you run your next cycle. And then finally, if you have a two-component system, your static mixer can be exaggerated by changes in temperature. For example, if it's warm and your material's less viscous, that mixer is just fine. But if it gets cold and that material gets thick, that mixer may not be sufficient. So these are tips that can mitigate the effects of winter. But if you're looking for a permanent solution that can eliminate that variable, we can help.